So it's time to update those spreadsheets, and I'm going to update mine with all of the ETFs that I own. And then I'm also going to look at the charts for the ones that are red to see if maybe Monday might be a good time to buy more shares to lower my real price per share. Hello my friends, this is Legend. So today we're going to update the spreadsheets, and then afterwards I want to look at the charts for these ETFs that are currently red, and that just means that if I were to sell my shares and all of my shares at that current price, that I would be down a certain amount of money. So first we're going to update the spreadsheets, and then we'll take a look to see where my real price per share is after that, and then we'll take a look at those charts and see if it's set up at a possible good buy point where I can help to lower my real price per share. So if you enjoy this type of content, please make sure to hit that like button, and if you would like a copy of my spreadsheet, come on over, join the Discord where you can get a copy of my spreadsheet here so that you can track your own high yield ETFs, and you'll also get notifications of all the other stocks that I'm purchasing, as I do show when I buy, and I also show my stops that I'm setting, just like in the past video where I was talking about my RSI2 method. So let's just jump right on into it, and let's start right off here with CONY. And with the new sheet, of course, everything is linked up. So as you do create your own spreadsheets, it will populate the summary page, and those will be linked up for you automatically. Just by hovering over that ticker, it will give you a little pop-up here, and then you click it and it takes you straight to that individual stock tracking sheet, just like that. So we're looking at CONY, and I've already entered in the distribution amount. So all I got to do is enter in the number of shares. It'll recalculate that real share price, and then we'll be able to see where we're currently setting. So for CONY, I have 62 shares. I can enter in 62. So that's going to change my real price per share from $56.24 to $55.85. And currently, if I was to sell all of my shares at that current price, I would be down about 11%. And honestly, 11% on a stock or ETF is not too bad, considering CONY is a bit of a Bitcoin play, and Bitcoin has just been down. It's down again as it was under 90K. It seems to want to get up to about 93 and then drop back down to 89, right? But that's okay. I'll take a look at the chart later in this video, and we'll see if the chart is telling me it's a good time to purchase. And moving on, we've got PLTY. We earned 56 cents on this one per share, and I have 37 shares. So my real price per share of $4.66 now becomes $4.09. So with the current price of $54.91, and I have a real price per share of $4.09, I'm sitting pretty nice on this one. And if I were to sell all my shares at that current price, I would make $1,800, and that's an 83% gain on this play. So not too bad at all. And moving on, we have NVDY, and NVDY I have 71 shares, and my real price per share of $12.76 now becomes $12.61. With the current price of $14.10, I am still green on this one as well. And if I were to sell all my shares, I would clear $105.76. For ULTY, we earned 54 cents on this distribution. I have a total of 33 shares. So my real price per share of $42.38 now becomes $41.83. Bringing it on down. And that, of course, helped to bring down my potential or unrealized loss, right? It's down to 5.5%. And if I were to sell all my shares, I'll only lose 88 bucks. Not too bad at all, considering ULTY has changed their strategy. And I'm hoping that that helps to stabilize that NAV, and we can keep a current price roughly the same. and I'll eventually be able to catch up and pass that current price. And that's my plan. For MSTY, we earned 58 cents per share, and I have 95 shares after that reverse split. So my real price per share, being in a paid off status, is minus 3.27. That now becomes minus 3.86. So I am definitely in the good on this one, as it's still in a paid off status. And if I were to sell all my shares at that current price, I will gain $3,622 on this play. I'm still sitting very nice on this one, as I have received all of my capital back. So therefore, I am in paid off status and just capturing those distributions, and to eventually look to buy more shares in hopes that I can increase that distribution amount that I'm being paid. And next is SMCY. We earned 14 cents. I have a total of 70 shares. So that is going to change my real price per share from $10.03 down to $9.89. Now this one has a current price of $8.95. So for this one, I am still red in it. It's about an 8% down. So if I were to sell all my shares at the current price, I will lose $66. I'm okay with that, as I am playing the long game on this. Eventually, I will be able to get past that and eventually get this one paid off as well. Next, we have AMDY. And AMDY, we earned 30 cents. And I have a total of 164 shares after the reverse split. So my real price per share of $33.09 now becomes $32.79. And with the current price of $38.14, that means that if I were to sell all my shares at the current price, I will earn $877. YMAX, we earned 11 cents per share, and I have a total of 758 shares. So my real price per share of $8.14 now becomes $8.03. So if I were to sell all my shares at that current price, I'm going to make about $1,900. And again, this is using my method of not purchasing shares unless the current price is under the real price per share. Because if you buy shares above your real price per share, that is going to average you up, and that's working against you, in my opinion. Next is HOOY. And for HOOY, I have a total of 48 shares, and they paid a distribution of 72 cents. So my real price per share of $52.22 now becomes $51.49. Now this one I am down on, but I'm only down 2%. Okay, not a big deal here either. And HOOY uses Robinhood, which is also a bit of a Bitcoin play. So with Bitcoin down, it makes sense that Robinhood would be down as well. But if I were to sell all my shares, I would lose $76. Not too bad at all. QDTE will pay out 20 cents, and I have a total of 155 shares. So my real price per share of $27.30 now becomes $27.10. With the current price of $34.35, that means if I were to sell all my shares, I'm going to make $1,123. A very nice gain. IWMY will pay out a distribution of 11 cents, and I have 551 shares. So that real price per share of $16.60 now becomes $16.48. The current price of $20.60 means if I were to sell all my shares at the current price, I'm going to make $2,269. And as you're starting to see, I'm definitely gaining more than I'm losing. And we'll take a look at that summary page at the end, and I'll show you what I mean. QQQY will pay out 14 cents. And I have a total of 551 shares. So my real price per share of $21.21 now becomes $21.07. Current price of $23.85 means if I were to sell all my shares at the current price, I'm going to clear $1,529. Another win. WDTE will pay out 18 cents, and I have a total of 540 shares. Therefore, that real price per share of $27.80 now becomes $27.61. And if I were to sell all my shares in WDTE, I'm going to make $2,440. Yet another win. And JEPQ pays out monthly, and we've already recorded the December payment, so JEPQ has no change. But my real price per share is $3.16 with the current price of $58.18. I'm setting quite nice with this one. And if I were to sell all my shares, I would make just over $2,500 on this one. And that is all of my ETFs that I have. So let's just switch it right over to the summary page and let's take a look to see where it currently sets with the new distributions along with the price movement of each of those ETFs as well. To get back to summary, I got a quick little link right here. Takes you right back to the summary, and this is available on each individual page. Click it and you're right back to the summary page. So as you can see on CONY, I'm currently down 11% with a real price per share of $55.85. ULTY, I'm down 5.5% with a real price per share of $41.83. SMCY, I'm down 8% with a $9.89 real price per share. And HOOY, I am down 2.8% for a 51.4 real price per share. As you can see, all of the rest of them I am green on. So I am down 4 ETFs, but I'm up and green on 10 of them, which is a pretty good deal, considering the ones I'm down on is not down by much. Because as you can see, if I were to sell everything, all 14 of my ETFs here, and that's JEPQ, WDTE, QQQY, YMAX, HOOY, all of them, and I were to sell them all at that current price, I would clear $17,511. So I am not losing money. I am still potentially going to make money. Now this of course means that I would have to sell everything to capture that $17,000, but I'm not selling, so therefore I am not capturing that $17,000, right? I am again playing that long game and looking to get each one of these paid off, and then those distributions at that point going forward would be free and clear because YMAX would have paid me back all of my capital that I have invested back to me, so that all of those distributions would be free and clear and those shares would be paid off with YMAX money. So basically I would be using house money and making money, and that's a great position to be in. But it does take time, and it doesn't always look like it's going in the right direction. As you can see, I've got a few of these that are red, but I've got a whole lot more that are green. And like I said, the ones that are down, they're not down by much. The biggest one is CONY, and it's only down 11.6%. That's not too bad of a deal. So now that we can see where I'm currently at, and this is my updated summary page with my distributions and the last market price, which was Friday. The ones that are red are CONY, ULTY, SMCY, and HOOY. So let's take a look at the chart and let's see, is it a good buy time, and does it make sense to buy some more shares of those ETFs? Because by buying more shares, if it is red, it will help lower that real price per share and will get me even closer to that market price, so that when that market price does move back up, all of a sudden then I'll be in the green. But I do not want to do that with something like, say, NVDY, because if my real price per share is $12.61 and I buy at $14.10, it's going to take this $12.61 and it's going to move it up. I don't want to move that up. I want to only move it down. So that's why if it's red, then you can take a look to see, does it make sense to buy more shares to help average down. So let's take a look at those charts on those 4 ETFs and let's just see if it makes sense. All right, so here we are on my Webull chart, and you can see I have HOOY pulled up right now, and I'm looking at the day interval, and I have the Bollinger Band, and I have the RSI2 turned on. Now, my previous video was about how I'm selecting stocks using the Bollinger Band, the moving averages, and that RSI2. And if you missed that video, you can check that out right here, where I go through and I show you examples of how I select a stock and how I'm using those indicators to know when to get in and when to get out. But for HOOY here, I'm basically going to use that same method, and I'm looking for the candle to be under that midpoint of that Bollinger Band. And you can see it is on the bottom side of that Bollinger Band. I prefer it to be at the bottom of the Bollinger Band, but I definitely want it to be on the bottom half. And it is that, right? And so I can move on down to the RSI2, and it's sitting at 5.61. So this could be a good potential buy point. Now it is touching that midpoint of that Bollinger Band, so that is a bit of a question if you want to wait to see if you can get a better price. I prefer that candle to open and close under the midpoint of that Bollinger Band. But I don't think I would hate it too much to go ahead and buy, since it is on the bottom half. It is under the 10 on the RSI2, and it will help to average our real price per share down. But we'll see what Monday brings. If Monday stays under that midpoint of the Bollinger Band and that RSI2 is down still, it's definitely going to be a possibility of me buying more shares at that time. And here we are looking at SMCY, and we have the Bollinger Band on. We are on the bottom half of that Bollinger Band, but you can see it is running through that Bollinger Band. I prefer, like I said, to be open and close under that midpoint, but it is on that bottom half, and that RSI2 is under 10. So come Monday, we'll see, does it stay in the bottom half, and does that RSI2 stay down low? If so, I could be buying some more of SMCY as well. And buying it under $9 when my real price per share for SMCY was $9.89, that would be helpful. But definitely, the lower the price, the better it's going to be as far as in helping to bring this number of that real price per share down more. And now for ULTY. Now ULTY is actually still on the top half of that Bollinger Band. So right there tells me it's not quite time to buy more ULTY yet. I need that candle to be on the bottom half of that Bollinger Band, preferably at the bottom of that Bollinger Band where that yellow line is. And I also would need that RSI2 to be under 10. It is currently under 10, but it's still on the top half of that Bollinger Band. So I'm going to wait to see if it's going to give me a better buy price by opening and closing on the bottom half of that Bollinger Band. So for ULTY, currently it's in a wait status. I want to see if it can come down a little bit more before I buy more ULTY. And the last one, CONY, looks kind of like ULTY. It is on that top half of that Bollinger Band. So that right there tells me it's still too early. I need it to come on down. And you can see the midpoint of that Bollinger Band being at 45.65 and the bottom of that Bollinger Band being at 42.26. So that's the price range that I would be looking for that candle to come down before I would be looking to buy more shares. And I also would need this RSI2 that's sitting at 16. I need it under 10 on that RSI2. So CONY currently is also a hold. I am not purchasing more shares until I see those indicators, even though buying shares at that current price of 46.22 will help lower my real price per share, because I'm currently sitting at 55.85. But the lower the price that I can buy, the more it's going to help lower this real price per share. How do you know when's a low price? Well, that's what I'm showing you. The bottom half of that Bollinger Band and that RSI2 below 10 is a potential good buy. And I say potential because nothing's guaranteed. It could continue moving down, and it may not even get down to the bottom half. Who knows? So you make sure to do your own research as none of this is financial advice. So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you don't mind, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button. It would be much appreciated. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, Legend out.